After a week of trudging through a forest, lost and low on supplies, the party stumbles upon a game trail with somewhat fresh tracks. Seeing no better option, you choose to take the trail. Noticing footprints of humanoids, rekindling your hope, you continue forwards, for a scent catches your nose. The smell of smoke, the first sign of civilization in weeks. You quickly rush towards the smell, following a ridge line that leads you straight upwards through tangled underbrush. After an exhausting final push up the muddy ridge, a sound now catches your ears. The faint sound of screaming. You look at each other before pressing forward post-haste. You then see it. A village, or what's left of one. Roofs are ablaze. Screams carry on the wind, and another sight catches your eye. Gnolls. Dozens of them. Moving like jackals through the smoke, howling and dragging bodies behind them. The flames chew through the thatch roofs, and arrows arc over the village as desperate screams fill the air. You see villagers being cut down in droves, slaughtered. You look at each other and decide you must help them. You quickly approach the village as the sound of chattering gnolls gets louder. Roll initiative. Okay, the adventurers break towards the burning village in a dead sprint out of the woods. Smoke is blinding, thick as fog, but the screams guide them. Then an impact happens. A man barrels out of the smoke, colliding with the warrior in the front. He nearly knocks both of them to the ground. He's wide-eyed and completely panicked. His face is slick with soot and blood. He begins shouting at the warrior in an absolute panic.
By Pelor's light! Oh my god, you're real! Please, you must help us! They're everywhere! Please!
As he grasps onto the warrior's cloak and drops to his knees, the warrior doesn't hesitate.
Go! Run north! Follow the ridge until you cannot hear the screams!
The man nods, tears streaking down his soot-worn face, and he stumbles back into the forest from whence the adventurers came. It's at this point, amongst the panic, the gnolls do not notice the adventurers. They may get a free round of combat before the gnolls notice their presence. Okay, the goal here for the adventurers is to slay as many gnolls as possible, while also trying to save as many villagers as possible. So we're going to start off with the warrior and the priest here, since they are the front liners, and they are going to charge up, and I'm not using a grid for this, so it's more cinematic. The warrior is going to charge up and begin shouting at the civilians to move and get out of here as fast as they can. The cleric is going to follow suit. They're going to attempt to make a wall of safety, essentially, so that people can run past them and they can draw the ire of the gnolls. The warrior moved his full movement speed for his turn, so what he's going to do is stab his sword into the ground, sheath his shield, pull his light crossbow out, and he's going to take a shot at this first gnoll across from him here. So let's see here. I will put the stat blocks on screen so you guys can see what these characters can do. So the warrior has a +3 with his light crossbow bolt here. He's going to make a shot. Oh, unfortunately that's going to miss. The smoke is in his eyes. He pulls up, he fires. The bolt flies over the gnoll, missing him, hitting the house in the distance. That's the warrior's turn. He did sheath his shield, so he's going to go to 14 AC temporarily until his next turn. The priest is going to wander up here, and I'm looking up because I have 4 different stat blocks on my screen that I'm going to be trying to keep track of. Actually 5, including the gnolls. The priest is going to use a sacred bolt. He's going to pull out his holy symbol and raise it into the air. He's going to pull out his holy symbol and raise it into the air, facing this gnoll ahead of him. And he is going to make an attack roll. And we're going to see if he is going to get this off here. He has a +5 to hit. A 19 is definitely going to hit. He's going to do a D8 +2 radiant damage to this gnoll in front of him. Okay, he does 5 damage to this gnoll here. A streak of golden radiant energy is going to fly forth from the cleric's holy symbol and pierce the Gnoll in the chest as it lets out this as it gets hit with the bolt of radiant energy. It's going to drop him down to 17 hit points. I'm going to do a little takesy-backsy on the warrior. I actually think it would be more advantageous if he charged up, kept his shield out, and just shouted out to everybody to run, and he's going to take the dodge action. So narratively speaking, he's going to put his shield in front of him and ready for the onslaught of the Gnolls to charge after him, because I realized that was a little bit of a dumb decision to charge up and put your shield away. So he's going to do that, and I believe his AC is 16. Yes, he's wearing scale mail, and he has a shield. So, okay, so the mage is going to just move probably here, would make sense. He's not going to move up too close. He wants to keep his distance still. And I'm going to look at his spell list really quickly to see what would be the most advantageous thing for him to use here, but also we don't want to catch a bunch of civilians in the crossfire. He's going to move here, actually, so he has a good line of sight on that Gnoll that the cleric had hit, or the priest, and he is going to use a Ray of Force spell and fire that across the battlefield at him. He has a +5 to hit as well, so let's see if he can hit. Come on, mage. Oh, he misses. Unfortunately, the smoke is in his eyes as well as he... It's hard to see! Ah! Boom! He fires and just goes wide, unfortunately, trying to not hit any of the civilians in the crossfire. That's going to be his turn. He's going to sit there. He doesn't see a need to cast Mage Armor at this current moment as he's trying to help some of the civilians in a panic. He's thinking more about them than himself in this moment. Now, as for the Spy... Mr. Spy here is going to probably... He's going to move... He's going to follow along the building here and get behind some of these merchant stalls, and he's going to hide right here. He's going to attempt to hide anyway, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a stealth check. He has +5 to his stealth roll, and then I'm going to just roll a general wisdom check for the Gnolls here. Okay, so he got a 14. Now for the Gnolls, I'm losing all the stat blocks here. For the Gnolls, they have a flat 10 to their wisdom roll. So we're just going to roll a d20. If they get lower than a 14, the Spy is hidden. Okay, they don't see him. They're focused on eating the people, and they haven't even noticed the adventurers charging in yet. So that's going to do it for the adventurers round of combat. Now we're going to roll initiative, and we're going to do initiative my way or the highway. So I'm going to do group initiative. I know a lot of you hate group initiative, and it makes me laugh because I love it, but we're going to do Greyhawk initiative on top of that. So we're going to roll a d6 here for the adventurers first. So let's see what the adventurers get. Okay, the adventurers got a 4, so as long as the Gnolls don't get a 5 or a 4 or higher, the adventurers will act first again. Ooh. Alright, so the Gnolls are going to go next. So for the Gnolls' turn, normally if you're rolling normal initiative, the Spy is more than likely going to go first because he has a high initiative roll, but I'm trying to control a ton of characters all at once, and I would really like to not have to keep track of individual initiatives, so that's why I'm doing group initiative. So the Gnolls that have been firing the flaming arrows onto the thatch roofs, setting this village on fire, the ones that are on the roof over here, they are going to start firing down into these villagers. So I'm going to start making some attack rolls here, and it's not looking so good for the villagers, but hey, what are you going to do, right? Alright, so let me just start rolling here. So this guy's going to shoot him, this guy's going to shoot him, and this guy down here, he's going to fire at this guy up here. He's slightly off screen for you, but he's going to shoot there. So, alright, let's see here. These are plundered short bows that they have, because these are Gnoll whelps, so they are lower level Gnolls. So, first guy on the right, at 1, his bow, we're going to say his bowstring breaks, so he's going to have to come down off of the roof. So this guy right here, his bowstring breaks. So I'm going to actually duplicate this guy, and I'm going to delete him, and we're going to put him up here now to show that his bowstring is broken. The second guy, he's going to make an attack. Yep, that's gonna hit. So, which guy was this? He was hitting him right here. So, I'll roll this guy's attack just to see if he hits. That's a miss somehow? I don't know how, but the gnolls are missing. Only one villager is getting hit in this line of fire here, so it's going to be this guy. Let's see if it's going to be enough to actually down him. 3 is just enough for him to stay alive, so in the chaos of him running, he gets shot in the back leg with an arrow. We'll say it hits him in his calf muscle, and he starts just yelling out in pain in the heat of battle. And now here's where the slaughter fest is going to start here. So this is how you can use gnolls to gruesome effect here. So I'm going to start going through each of these gnolls one by one and making some attack rolls here. I might even cut out some of it if it takes me too long, but let's see here. They have these bone spears they are going to start making attacks with. So +4 to hit on this guy right here in front. 8 + 4 is definitely going to do it. He's going to hit him. He is one-handing his spear, so he's not dealing the max damage. So it's going to be +2 to hit. Again, a 3. This guy survives somehow. He gets stabbed in the gut, and as the gnoll is just cackling and laughing at him as he's trying to run away. Now we're going to do these two guys up here, hitting this poor gentleman here. He's probably not going to survive this, so we're going to make them bite him. So they, instead of using their spears, are just going to make 2 bite attacks. A 20 total is going to hit, and another 20 total is going to hit. So this guy is going to take a whopping 4d4 + 4 from both of their attacks and their modifiers added up. Total. Oh, this guy, we'll say he looks like some sort of posh nobleman, steps out of his home. He's an older man. The gnolls just start tearing into him, and they pull his arm out of the socket. The blood splatters upon the ground as he just starts letting out this horrendous scream of pain before he falls to unconsciousness and bleeds to death. So I'm going to, we'll do this because gnolls do eat the bodies. So we'll leave him there at 0, and we'll come to these two gnolls here making attacks. We got +4 to hit. So the top gnoll there, that's going to hit. The bottom gnoll, that's also going to hit. They're going to do, this guy goes down, which means Rampage is actually going to trigger, and then this guy down here goes down also. Rampage will trigger. So the gnolls tear into these guys, dropping them to 0 hit points with their spears. They are then going to Rampage as their bonus action. He's going to run at this guy as he's running away and leap onto him and try to bite him with his canines. Let's see. That's going to hit. So this guy gets hit in the back with an arrow, and he tries to run and get away, and that gnoll just towering over him bites into him and just rips a chunk of his shoulder out before that poor man just collapses to the ground in a pool of blood. And this is all happening one after the other, so the adventurers are not able to react yet. And this gnoll goes sprinting towards this one now, as this guy's trying to run away with his Rampage ability. He's going to make a bite attack. That's going to hit. He's going to deal 2d4 + 2. And he tears into that guy as well. And now, as you're describing this to your players, you would say that the gnolls are just ravenously tearing and slaughtering through these people before your eyes. So our adventurers are not going to be in a very good mood after seeing this, unfortunately. Now, as for these two gnolls here, this one has gotten hit a few times, so he's actually going to just paw this guy in the face and shove him towards the flames coming out of the window, and he's going to charge up towards the priest. So he'll move up there. And this gnoll over here, he's going to try to get this peasant as he's running away with a attack with his spear as well. Yep, that's going to hit, unfortunately. Let's see. Ooh, that's enough to do it. He plunges the spear into this guy's side, and he plops to the ground. unfortunately, hitting the floor in a pool of blood. So he hits the floor in a pool of his own blood. The Gnoll is going to use Rampage, and this time it's going to charge straight towards the player character who was shouting out for the things to attack. So now we get to do 2 attack rolls on the player characters here. These are both with, one is going to be with a bite attack, so this will be +4. We'll do the one against the warrior first. An 11 is going to miss. He would actually have disadvantage on that, so I'll see if I get a nat 1. No. And this Gnoll that is injured is going to make an attack on the priest right here now. And let's see here, we got I gotta remember to just redo the rolls normally. So +4, oh, 23 actually hits the cleric. So he's going to take a d6 + 2 damage. For 6 damage, this Gnoll stabs the cleric into the stomach, taking down 6 of his hit points, bringing him down to 20 as the spear plunges in, just finding a chink in his plate armor, or his scale mail, I believe. Half-plate armor, sorry, half-plate armor. And that is a lot of carnage for one turn. These Gnolls actually, because they did get this guy down, they get to use Rampage as well, but I don't believe they can reach with their Rampage to make a bite attack. They're still going to use Rampage and move still. Move here. He can make an attack against this guy, and then this Gnoll's going to Rampage over here to this guy. Alright, that's a miss. That's a hit. These are both bite attacks. Oh, that's going to do it for this poor fellow here. He's going to go to 0 as well. Thankfully, the player characters are not in this. Alright, that's it for the Gnoll's turn. It is now time for the player characters. I think I actually... It's not the players' turns yet, actually. It's the peasants' turns. So they are going to essentially use their actions to dash if they are not next to any Gnolls that could harm them. This guy will get away. This guy has to disengage. This guy has to disengage as well. This guy is going to disengage. He's going to run this way. Unfortunately, he's got to try to get away. So, of all of the men in the village here, not too many are making it out alive, but such is life in a village raid. So now we move back to the player characters' turns here, and this is where they have to make some quick split decision making, because they are about to get swarmed by the horde of Gnolls. So the priest, we're gonna do the priest first. Alright, so what would the priest do here? He is going to probably use... What would he use here? He's going to use Sacred Blessing, and he's going to bless himself, the warrior, and he's going to bless the spy. So all 3 of them will be blessed. I'm just going to put a big... we're going to do just like a big token or something so it's easy to see. A big yellow token to show that they are blessed. So they get to add 1d4 to their attack rolls so long as the priest keeps concentration. So he will do that as his action. And because his melee attack is very bad with his mace, he only uses that in a very, very last-ditch effort scenario, I will say. So we'll go to the warrior next here now. He is going to really attempt to make this creature, this horrid abomination, pay for its crimes. He is going to make 2 attacks with his sword, actually. So he's going to make 2... He has +5, actually. So let me do that right. So he's got +5. He's going to just do the stab attack instead of trying to disarm the Gnoll as of right now. So the first attack is a 15. That'll hit. The second attack is a 22. Those are both going to hit. He's going to deal 2d8 plus 4 damage against this Gnoll. So hopefully he can actually get rid of it. So big 9. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to kill the Gnoll. He will bring it down to 13 as he stabs into it. He takes his arming sword out. The Gnoll charges into him, hits his shield. The fighter pulls his sword out and slashes across the Gnoll twice, spraying him with blood. Unfortunately, the Gnoll only stumbles backwards slightly and doesn't actually go down. These are pretty hardy creatures. Now, as for the spy, he is going to use his... He's probably going to go ahead and hit a big ol' sneak attack here. So, let's see. He is not going to get into melee yet and put himself at risk, but he will he's going to peek from around one of the boxes that he's hiding behind. He's just going to take his hand crossbow, line it up against the Gnoll that the warrior is fighting, and he's just going to fire a kill shot at him. So he's got advantage on this, and he has a +5 to hit, and his bolts are coated in a poison, so hopefully he can damage, and he also has an additional +4. So I'm going to roll this at advantage. Oh god, hold on. Roll this at advantage with a +5. Wow, he got a 7 even with advantage. That is terrible. Even with a 7 +4, he's not even going to be able to succeed the attack somehow. Yeah, that's insane. I rolled that so low. That's unfortunate. Yeah, a 1 and a 2. I mean, there's not much you can do when that happens. It's just truly unfortunate. So he comes up to fire one of the bolts, and it's just so hard to see with the fighter clashing with this Gnoll, the blurred shapes in the smoke. The rogue tries to pull out the hand crossbow and fire, but he misses, unfortunately, and that does reveal his position now. But he will use his bonus action to attempt to hide again with a +5, so let's see if he manages to get it off. And a natural 1, he does not manage to get it off, so already not looking so good here. He's not hidden. He's going to... I guess he's just going to back up with whatever movement he has, realizing his position is compromised. So he's going to step back out over here near the mage and hope that the mage can sort of carry some weight here. So it's not looking so good right now. Let's see what happens. The mage is going to now, with there not being that many creatures in the center, he's going to start conjuring up a massive ring of lightning, and he's going to fire this. It is a 20-foot radius. Yeah, 20-foot radius now. It's going to hit 4 different Gnolls here. Actually, he's going to try to do this. Yeah, he's going to hit 5 different Gnolls, so I need to make 5 saving throws. Alright, so we're just going to go down the line here, I guess. So we'll do the Gnoll that's fighting the warrior, and the Gnolls have what to their saving throw here? Probably not a lot. Alright, they have a +1 to their dex save, so I'm going to roll this first Gnoll. He's going to succeed, unfortunately, but he does take guaranteed damage because this is like fireball. So the second Gnoll here fails, then this Gnoll down here succeeds, unfortunately. This Gnoll here fails, then this Gnoll here succeeds. So we got, I already forget what Gnoll succeeded and failed. I know 3 failed, 2 succeeded. So this one succeeded. I think we have a failure, a success, and a failure and a failure. So we'll just say these 3 in the middle here failed their saves, because I already forget which ones succeeded and failed. Alright, so so the wizard, oh my god, it's a mage. Alright, so the mage conjures this ball of lightning that explodes out into a ring, and it just expands in a 20-foot radius from the center, and it's going to deal a total of, you can't make this up, man, 3 damage. Wow, that is terrible. Terrible. I cannot believe I'm rolling this bad. Absolutely insane. I'm breaking math right now. So it does a whopping 3 damage somehow. Every creature that is not immune or resistant to lightning damage cannot take reactions until the start of their next turn. So at least it will remove the Gnolls being able to make attacks of opportunity. So that is just genuinely tragic. So half of 3 rounded up, I'm pretty sure would just be 2? Would be 1.5? It would be 2 damage, so it's better than nothing, I guess. This Gnoll goes down to 20. And then we got these guys back here that failed the full save. And he's going to go down to 19. That is just hilariously terrible. I don't know how I'm rolling this bad. I guess that's going to be it for the mage's turn. He's going to hope that nobody witnessed such a horrendously low damage output spell coming out of him like that. Well, for the players' sakes, for the adventurers, if you will, I really hope they win initiative so that they can redeem themselves with their next turn immediately before the Gnolls get to take their round of pain, as I like to call it. So we're going to re-roll initiative here. I'm going to do 2 different colored die here. So we'll make the Gnolls will be the silver die and the players will be the red die. So let's hope the players get a higher roll than the silver die. The red die needs to roll higher than the silver. Players get to go back to back before the Gnolls get to go, so that's good. So their momentum is still in their favor. The Gnolls are still recovering from the massive lightning storm. We'll say narratively to try to make sure the players don't look stupid. So here we go. Let's see here. So the warrior is going to attempt to redeem himself here. He is going to make 2 attack rolls. He has a D4 in addition to whatever he rolls here. He has a +5 plus a D4. So he needs to down this Gnoll really badly. So the first attack is going to miss. I don't know how this is happening right now. The first attack is going to miss. The second attack is going to hit. Thank God. The smoke is really making it hard for these adventurers to hit these attacks here, apparently. So the fighter, and this has happened to me as a DM, where the players are just rolling so bad that you feel absolutely terrible. I think this happens to every dungeon master. So, warrior, please do some damage here. 10 damage, that's what we're looking for. So he does drop this Gnoll down to 1 hit point as he just cleaves through its stomach and its organs are now hanging out of its gut. And it is bleeding profusely as the warrior is just shouting profanities into its face. The priest now. What is the priest gonna do? He is keeping this creature at bay with his shield, seeing the warrior has almost got that one down. He will make this attack at disadvantage, but he's going to raise his hand and his holy symbol towards the Gnoll that the warrior is fighting. And he is going to try to make an attack roll here, which will be at disadvantage. But he does have a +5, and he does have an extra D4 with his roll. So let's see if he can actually manage to hit that Gnoll. Alright, I have no idea what he just got. A 13 is not going to hit. Oh, that's unfortunate. So the priest keeps this Gnoll at bay. He was trying to help the action economy out by getting that Gnoll down. I think what the wizard is going to do is he's going to move to the side here, and he's going to try to help the fighter with this attack roll here with his ray of force. So let's hope he can get this off. We're praying to Paylor that the wizard can get this Gnoll down. He just has to hit him. Oh my goodness. He misses. He fires. This Gnoll has luck of some divine ancient deity on his side. He's just surviving everything. So that misses that Gnoll. Now the spy, it would make the most sense for him to try to get this Gnoll as well. So he's going to move over here. Actually, does he want to do that? He's going to move over here. He can still see he's under a roof here, so the door is probably here. This is probably open space. He's going to try to hide and then shoot this Gnoll here, I'll say. Because he's going to waste so much damage if he does attempt to just shoot the Gnoll with 1 hit point if he hits him. He's got so much wasted damage there. It feels terrible to do that. So hide. Oh my goodness. He got an 8. Oh, let's see if the Gnolls see him with their +1. What do they have for wisdom? Well, they have +2 to perception rolls, so if they get higher than an 8, they know where he's at. He is not hidden. So instead of shooting this guy, who looks very not injured, or shooting this guy, he's going to thread the needle and try to get this Gnoll here that has 1 hit point. He has a D4 in addition to a +5 to hit. Mathematically speaking, it is very unlikely that he misses this attack. Rogue, please help us. Oh, but he actually has disadvantage on this because he's not within 30 feet of this guy, I don't think. Wait a minute. It's fine. He can move up there. So he's going to move up there. Alright. He's a +5 to hit plus a D4. He just needs to hit this Gnoll with the attack roll to kill him. He misses too. So the players at this point are probably screaming at me, and they're like, "Why'd you give these guys such a AC?" And I'm like, dude, it's not my fault you're rolling bad. It's not my fault you're rolling bad. Lol, sorry, kid. So that's truly just unfortunate rolls for the players, and sometimes that just happens. Narratively speaking, we're just going to say that the smoke and the soot is just pouring into this place, and it's causing these characters to not be in their element. They're also exhausted from being lost in the woods for a week. Keep that in mind too, so let's not give them too much of a hard time. But now it is going to be the Gnolls' turns, and this is what I like to call a round of pain, because the Gnolls are going to be moving in here. So they're going to move there, and let me just get through this whole round of movement for these guys. It's going to be a bloodbath. He's going to charge up here. 25 feet, like that. They're trying to get Pack Frenzy active. These guys are going to charge up like this. He's going to dash, actually. Now, they do have bows, but they want to get in. Actually, he's not going to dash. He's going to throw his spear. This guy's going to go here. He is going to dash because he's really far away. So he's going to run up like this. That's looking like that's what it's going to be. Oh, the Gnolls also have advantage on perception rolls, so hiding is actually going to be quite difficult to do. So these Gnolls here are going after the warrior. But as you'll remember in my Gnoll lore, they do try to target the weak links first. So these two Gnolls here are going to throw spears at the mage. So let's see what happens. Now surely if I'm rolling bad for the player characters, I'm going to be rolling bad for the Gnolls too, right? They have +4 to hit. The mage only has an 11 AC, so the first spear goes flying, misses. I'm rolling bad for the Gnolls too, so that's good. The second spear does unfortunately hit the mage. He's going to take a D6 +2 damage for a whopping 6 hit points worth of damage. It's going to bring him down to 10 as he lets out an old man shriek of pain. He's going to go down to 10 hit points as these two Gnolls are pretty focused on him. Thankfully he survived that onslaught, but these Gnolls that are way in the back here, we can't forget about these two guys because they're on the roof and they can see over the battlefield, and they are going to fire at the mage as well. Now this player would probably be shouting at me because of how badly this fight is going at this point, but let me just double check and make sure they're within 80 feet. They are within 80 feet, it looks like. Except this one here, the wizard is just out of range, so this Gnoll down here is going to have disadvantage. So we'll do his attack roll first at disadvantage with a +4 to hit. Actually, this has +3, not +4. Alright, so the first disadvantage attack, surely it's going to miss. 13. With disadvantage, he gets hit. And then the second attack, only +3 from the other Gnoll, that also hits. So that's not looking so good. So it's going to be 2 d6s, each has a +1, so it's going to be 2 d6s +2 total. Only 5 damage. The wizard is still alive. He's still okay. He takes 5 points of damage and he goes down to 5 hit points. This is looking pretty dangerous here. Our priest still has healing spells, so it's not all doom and gloom as of right now, but it is not looking good. So those Gnolls did that. Now here comes the round of pain on the warrior here. So Pack Frenzy is active. This is where things are going to get a little deadly. So these guys all have Pack Frenzy active because they have allies within range. So if you wanted to narratively think of this, the warrior is surrounded on all sides except for the rear, and they are all lunging in with their spears on him. So they don't have advantage, thankfully. They don't have advantage, but they do get an extra die worth of damage to their attack rolls. So it's going to be 3 attacks on the warrior here. So let's see what happens. He could go down here if this does enough damage. So the first attack... oh boy, that's going to hit then the bottom gnoll with 1 hit point. I rolled a nat 20, so the warrior player, he's literally mauling right now. He's literally screaming at me right now if he was a real person. Then the final attack misses, so his critical hit just makes up for this gnoll not hitting. So it's not all that bad, but it is still pretty bad. So they deal an additional die of damage. So I believe that wouldn't be, well, it would be doubled, technically speaking. So it's a d6 plus 4d6. Because this guy, it would be 2 d6s, but then he critically hit. So it would be another 2 d6s. So it's essentially just this guy's attacks. So he just got hit by all 3 of them, basically. And then it's an additional plus 2 from the modifier. So, oh boy, let's see what happens here. And this is Rib Splitter, so it's not looking good. 19. The warrior takes a big hit there, so I'm going to use a calculator because I don't want to do math. 32 minus 19 is going to be 13. So the warrior goes down to 13 as those 2 spears plunge into him. He lets out this scream of pain, yet he stands firm, ready to smite these creatures. Hopefully speaking. This is all happening because they're not rolling high enough. So he's going to take that damage, and he's also going to get a -2 penalty to con saves, which will stack up. And I'm going to get a piece of paper and write that down somewhere. So I had to write down on this piece of paper that the warrior had a -2 to his con save, just to not clutter the screen up and do any more things like that. So if he goes down to -5 because of Rib Splitter, he will drop to 0 hit points. And he also has that -2 to all con saving throws and rolls. So now let's move over to the priest. These 2 gnolls are going to make attacks with Pack Frenzy on this priest. They're using their spears. They want to save the feasting until later, until I feel like it is necessary. This first gnoll, actually, because we have Harassing Gnash, they're surrounding the priest. The priest is very heavily armored, so it's going to try to pull him to the ground. So the first gnoll here, he's got a +4 to hit. This will deal 5d4 damage if this hits because of Pack Frenzy. 14 is going to miss. Thankfully, the priest has very high AC. The second gnoll, he's also going to try to pull him to the ground too. Ooh, that's going to hit. So he's going to take 3, not 5d4. I don't know what I'm talking about. So he's going to... actually, it's only 2 because that only does 1d4 damage. So he's going to take this damage. He's going to take 7 points of damage, which will bring him down to 13. He's still okay, though it's just not looking good. So he's going to go down to 13. He has to make a strength saving throw here. So the goal of this series is not to just, hey, let's just defeat the player characters, but it's to make a DC 12 strength save. So he doesn't have a plus to these, so if he gets lower than a 12, he falls prone. We don't want you to fall prone, priest. Oh my god. He falls prone. So I rolled a 10. Okay, he falls prone, and those will give them advantage on their attack rolls if they don't get an additional... or if nothing else happens, they will probably stand up, so he'll be okay by the time he stands up. And I believe that's going to do it for the Gnolls. So now it will be the player characters next. So I went back and reviewed the footage just to double check and see who won initiative last. It was the players that won initiative last. The Gnolls just went. Then the peasants, the remaining peasants, ran away, so they saved 4 people out of the whole carnage, which is good. If I'm a player character, I'm the type of player that will sacrifice my character to save NPCs. So I'm playing these characters how I would play them. However, your players will probably make better decisions than I would, because I'm a very empathetic, whatever the term, I'll probably put the word up on screen, whatever the word would be for somebody who is a self-sacrificing martyr for his people, basically. So we do have to re-roll initiative now. And here's where things could go detrimentally, horrendously bad, because if the Gnolls win initiative, this is probably going to be the TPK. But if the players win initiative, they can possibly pull it back. So let's see what happens. I hope the players win, but I'm not going to get my hopes up for how things have been going. So we're going to go ahead and lucky red versus silver. Alright, the players are the red. The Gnolls are the silver. They have to roll higher than the Gnolls. Please, players, please. It's not over yet. The adventurers can still come back from this. So I also need to make a concentration check for the priest, because he did get hit. So I need to make a concentration check. The DC should be 10, because he took 7 damage, I believe. So a DC 10 concentration check is what I need to do. He does have a +2. So DC 10, he'll probably get this right, surely speaking. He did. He didn't roll a 10, but he has a +2 to his con, so he does keep the bless up. And now, let's see what's going to happen here. So, players need to all get their shit together. So, the warrior is going to use his bonus action immediately to drink his healing potion that he has, and he has 2 of these. So he's going to drink his healing potion as he's got his shield up. He puts his sword up under his armpit, quickly pulls one out, corks it, and he dinks it and he sinks it. Let's heal 6. It's better than nothing. 13 plus 6 would be 19, so it'll bring him up to 19 hit points. He'll go up to 19. He feels a little better after that. So he's also within last stand because he did hit the bloodied threshold, so he can take an extra action. So we're going to go ahead and he's going to try to just draw upon whatever remaining adrenaline he has left within him. And he's going to,
Do not falter, men! Stand fast! Stand firm!
and he's going to start pulling an Aragorn and try. I'm hoping he turns into a badass here. So, alright, he needs to get rid of this Gnoll that's in front of him. That guy has been a problem. So he technically has access to 4 attacks, because we're going to use Last Stand. So, +5 to hit. With a D4, mathematically speaking, he should be able to hit this Gnoll. Nat 20. Unfortunate that it goes on this Gnoll, because that wastes a lot of the damage. But he takes his sword, he cleaves the Gnoll across the neck. Its head goes flying into the well behind them. That Gnoll's body plops to the ground, twitching as the blood just starts gurgling out of the neck hole. He then turns to the Gnoll above him, who plunged its spear into him, and he takes another attack against that Gnoll now, with a 22 that's gonna hit. He's gonna roll damage, because I just want to be sure that I don't over-damage and waste his Last Stand. So it does 8, so that's going to bring him down to 11, and he still has 2 more attacks because he's action surging. Alright, so his second attack now, where is it? Let's go, 25, that hits 2, D8 plus 2, let's see if he can, I'm feeling it, come on, warrior, you can do it. 9, it doesn't take him down, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to get rid of a lot of Gnolls in one turn, but he does start swinging the pendulum in the adventurer's favor as he stabs into the Gnoll's gut and then he's going to swing one final time. He pulls the sword out and he swings again with a 24. His minimum damage is enough to kill this Gnoll. He pulls the sword out and he jams it into its mouth all the way through the back. The sword plunges out the back of the Gnoll's head. Notice how I'm giving more intense descriptions with this combat. When your players are losing and then they start turning the tides of battle, start making them feel badass so they feel good. He plunges the sword into the Gnoll's mouth. It comes out the back of its head and it hits the ground, kicking and squealing and screaming as he turns to this. He's going to back up here. He's still within 5 feet of it. He's going to try to get to the priest and help him. So that was the warrior's turn. He took out 2 gnolls, which is huge for this right now because there were a lot of gnolls. So finally, all of this could have been saved and made a lot easier if they were just not rolling so terribly in the beginning. So the warrior starts to pull the pendulum back in their favor. We're going to move to the priest now because oh man, I don't know what he wants to do here. You know what? We're going to do the wizard next, the mage. He is going to... What is he going to do? He really wants to cast Arcane Armor. Oh, I forgot he also does have a reaction spell to save him from the attack rolls that I made from a while ago. Let me actually go back and review the footage because I forgot he had this reaction. So reviewing the footage, only 1 attack would have hit the wizard if he would have cast Abjuring Ward because it would have brought his AC up to 16. Every roll that I rolled except for 1 was 13. The other roll was a 17 from this guy's spear. So he's actually going to go back up to 10 hit points because he would have taken the 6 damage from that spear that hit him from this gnoll here, which these 2 guys also don't have their spears. So going back to the wizard now, he has 1 more use of Abjuring Ward. He's going to bonus action, dink and sink his healing potion. He's going to regain 2d4 plus 2 hit points. So he's going to heal him to full hit points now because of my little mistake there, which you'll have to forgive me because I'm trying to run 4 pseudo player characters along with about 10 monsters. So he's going to go back up to 16 after drinking his healing potion. Now what he's going to do is he really doesn't feel like he has the time to cast Mage Armor because of what is happening right now. His pseudo Mage Armor, his Arcane Armor. So he's going to move here and he is going to use Arcane Phoenix. And it is a 60-foot line that is 5 foot wide, and he's just going to throw it this way. So he conjures this phoenix that is made of pure arcane fire out of his hand, and he sends it across the battlefield towards these 2 gnolls. These 2 gnolls need to make a dexterity saving throw. The DC is 13. They both have a +1. So I'm just going to roll 2 d20s for the sake of speed here. A nat 1 on one, and then the other one succeeds. So I'm just going to go off of the nat 1 is the higher one, so it'll be this guy here, and then the 18 will be the injured guy. So he throws the Arcane Phoenix. They will unfortunately take half of 2d10 fire damage, but they'll still take the damage. Well, one guy will. The other guy will take the full damage. 7 damage, so not a lot. So 22 minus 7. Hold on 1 second. Let me calculate the... So the Phoenix flew through those gnolls. They got hit with the fire damage. They stumbled back a bit, and then the ground caught on fire. So if they enter that area for the first time, or they start their turn in the flames, they're going to take another 1d6, and there's no save for that. So more guaranteed damage. The wizard moved a couple feet here. He's going to move probably about there, and that's where he's going to end his turn. So I did the fighter, the wizard. I think now we're going to do the spy here, because he needs to redeem himself too. He needs a redemption arc. The player characters lost the last battle that I did, so I really want them to win this one. So he's going to make a stealth check at +5. He's going to move back here. He's going to try to jump out and axe this gnoll here. He's going to actually dagger him. So +5 for a stealth check. I'm just going to use the gnoll's passive perception this time. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to remain with my ruling. So he got a 16. Now the gnolls have to make a wisdom check at advantage to see if they notice him, which they don't have any pluses. They just have a d20 roll with advantage. So higher than a 16, 16 or higher, and they notice him. 11. The spy remains hidden. This is good. So now what he does is he draws his dagger, and he quickly rolls out around the corner, and he just takes the dagger and plunges it into this gnoll's neck. Now, I gave the rogue a special thing when he attacks from hidden, or the spy, sorry, it's the spy. So when he attacks from hidden with his dagger, it does 3d4 damage. So let me make the attack roll at advantage first to see if he crits. Which we're looking for a crit here. We really want to see a crit. So the spy takes his dagger, he plunges it towards the Gnoll. 22, it's not a crit, but it's still going to hit. He does have sneak attack, so he's going to do 3d4 plus 2d6. I'm really hoping he one-shots the Gnoll here. It would be really upsetting if he doesn't. So he's got 3d4 plus 2d6 from sneak attack, plus 2 from his modifier. Surely he can one-shot this Gnoll. We're hoping here. We're hoping. We're cheering. Everybody get ready. 12. Man, he just didn't roll high enough. He stabs the Gnoll in the neck. The Gnoll brings the shield up and it slows the momentum of the dagger just slightly. But the Gnoll does still manage to, we'll say he jams the Gnoll in the jaw and wrenches it across the Gnoll's face. And the Gnoll takes 12 damage, which will bring him down to 10 hit points, which is pretty good. He half-healthed them with one hit. No, not the worst thing in the world. He's still at full hit points, so he'll be okay in a 1v1 with the Gnoll there. And now for the priest. He's going to stand up using half of his movement speed. He's going to... What does he want to do? Does he want to heal himself? He is at 13. Let me think for a second. After looking, he's going to heal himself. He just doesn't want to risk going down when they need him. So he doesn't have healing potions, but he does have a really, really strong healing ability called Tears of Ilmater, which is an NPC healing spell that I came up with. Here he goes. 16 hit points worth of healing. That is a bombshell amount of healing right there for what he needs right now. So 16 healing, that'll bring him up to full hit points, up to 26. Ilmater reconstitutes his wounds as he feels the warmth of his holy energy radiate throughout his body, healing his wounds. He comes back to his feet with his shield in front of him, ready to go one-on-one with these Gnolls, blow for blow. That is going to be the player's turn. Now it is the Gnoll's turn. Alright, we have 8 Gnolls on the battlefield still. They're not in too bad of a spot. They just lost 2 of their members from the warrior having his Aragorn moment and becoming an absolute badass. So, I think what I want to start off with are these Gnoll archers that are on the rooftops in the back here. They're going to try to... What are they going to try to do? Do they want to shoot the mage at disadvantage because he's moved back now? They can't really see anybody here because they're under this thatch roof here, so they can't really see them. They could shoot the fighter, they could shoot the warrior or the priest. Let me think about this for a minute. What would be the best course of action? They're going to shoot the warrior because he just killed 2 of their members, so they're going to try to avenge their Gnoll brethren's death. Not that they really care, but they notice that he's a bit dangerous and he's getting a bit out of line. So they don't have disadvantage on these attack rolls. So I'm going to make 2 short bow attacks. They do get an extra damage die because they have allies that are within range. So let me roll these real quick. And that one, that Gnoll's arrow busts, and I'm gonna have to make a copy. Wait a minute, let me see if I can I replace this guy with this guy. There we go. Alright, so his arrow broke, so he's gonna come down off the roof, and he'll only be able to move this far because he has to, I'll say he climbs down because he doesn't want to risk hurting himself. So he'll move about there. That'll be his turn. Now as for this guy, he's gonna try to shoot the warrior. So let's see if he hits the warrior. 9. Alright, the math is starting to come back around and make more sense now. Now the Gnolls are missing, so just another arrow goes flying, missing. These 2 Gnolls over here have to take a d6 fire damage because they start their turn in this flame from the Arcane Phoenix. They're going to take 3 fire damage apiece. So math ain't mathin' right here for some reason. I don't know what happened. I think they're fine. So they come running out of the fire. They're gonna go after the wizard, after the mage, because they see him as the threat. So they're gonna move here. They should be able to reach. He did move 5 feet to get out of there. I'm just going to say they get there. Well, he won't be able to get there. So he will... I'm really trying to abstain because I'm seeing it as they don't have bows. But you know what? He has a bow. So I'm going to say he switches to a bow. He puts his spear away and he switches to his bow. And he's just going to shoot the wizard up close and personal. He has a +3 to hit on this. 15's going to hit. I think the wizard is going to... I'm sorry, I keep saying wizard. It's mage. The mage is going to use his last spell for Abjuring Ward. He's going to make his armor class go up to +5, so he'll go up to 16 temporarily. So that attack that I just rolled will miss. And then this Gnoll here, he's going to try to make a bite attack. It's a +4 to hit. Ooh, that's going to miss because the wizard's AC, the mage. I keep saying wizard. The mage, his AC is temporarily 15, which this isn't loading, which here we go. So it's 16 temporarily. Actually, we'll do this. We'll do it's 11, but it's temporarily 16. So he has that from that spell. Now to these Gnolls here. Now suddenly, as soon as they got rid of some of those Gnolls, just getting rid of 2 Gnolls is swinging the battle so much more in their favor. This Gnoll notices the warrior moving next to his comrade here. They are going to make attacks here. So let's see. One Gnoll's gonna go for a harassing Gnash on the warrior here. So he's gonna try to pull him prone first before the other Gnoll attacks. And he's gonna miss, actually. So that Gnoll goes for the bite. The warrior pulls his shield up. The second Gnoll goes in for an attack. With a 16, that will hit. This is with Rib Splitter, though. So he's going to do 2d6 +2. He's going to hit. I think the warrior actually should have taken a little bit more damage now that I'm thinking of it from the last turn, but it's fine. It's too late now. He's going to take 6 points of damage. He's going to take another minus. So he's got 2 more points before he goes to 0 automatically, no matter what HP he's at. So he's going to take 6 damage. 19 minus 6. Which will bring him down to 13. These 2 Gnolls just hit him. Now, we're going to go down to the little 1v1 going on over here. There's just little sub-battles going on all over this battlefield. So, this Gnoll is going to attack the rogue here with his... He's going to make a bite on him. He's a little peeved that the rogue just hit him with that dagger. With a 17, that'll definitely hit the rogue. That's going to deal 6 points of damage, which will bring him down to 10. And he pulls a chunk out of the rogue's face, and there's a huge gash of blood that tore part of his cheek open. You could see some of the spy's teeth behind his cheek as it got torn open, and it's bleeding profusely. It's personal now. And we'll move up to this final Gnoll whelp here. It's not looking good for the Gnolls suddenly. Just from 2 of them going down, it's not looking so hot. So the priest and this Gnoll are locked in deadly combat. He's going to try to use Rib Splitter on this priest. With a natural 1, he misses. I'm going to say the priest disarms him, and he loses his spear. We'll say his spear goes flying. I don't know, it goes flying over here. We'll say hitting the ground. The priest deflects. He pulled his shield up and bashed the spear out of the Gnoll's hand. So now the Gnoll is he's just in melee mode with his jaw dripping with saliva. That would be the Gnoll's turn, actually. Interestingly enough, this Gnoll's going to stay up on the roof. He's technically, he's like up maybe 20 feet in the air there, like that. So we then, what did I just do? We now have to reroll initiative. I always lose track of when we have to reroll initiative. So let's see. So we got, hold on, let me do the double. So we'll do black versus red this time. The Gnolls will be the black. The players win again. So they get to go now that the Gnolls have just went. So here we go. This is getting a little hectic here. So the warrior will take the helm of this turn of combat here. He's going to, and I'll put probably an indicator on screen to tell us what round of combat we're on, because I've lost track already. So the warrior is going to do what he does best, and he's going to say it's warrioring time. He's going to use his shield first. He's going to actually go for, no, I don't think he wants to risk it. Actually, he's going to use a bonus action to drink his last healing potion. That's what he's going to do first. So he's gonna drink that last healing potion. He's gonna heal 6 hit points. Now he has no more healing potions, so he'll go up to 19 again. So right back to where he was. So 19, and now he's going to. He wants to use his shield to bash to knock this gnoll to the ground, but he just doesn't feel like he has the time to do it. He really needs to get rid of them. He needs to take away their action economy. So he's not thinking like that, technically speaking. He's thinking in terms of, we need to smite these evil creatures. They're vile. They need to be destroyed at all costs. So his first attack with his arming sword, he swings in. 18. He also has that D4 I have to remember. So +5 plus the D4. I gotta remember this for my attack rolls. The second attack, 22. So both attacks hit. 2d8 +2 from the modifiers. I believe, right? No, it should be higher than that. +4 total. Yep, so 2d8s +4, because it's 2 from the modifier. He hit twice, that would be 4. Big hit coming in, brings it down to 10 hit points. The Gnoll's still pretty hardy. It's still holding its ground against him. So he gets 2 swings in. I'll probably put some cleaving sounds, some combat sounds. And he's not going to move from there. He's just going to stay right there, trying to help his priestly friend. Now the priest, we move to the priest. He's going to use Holy Blast, because this only affects enemies around him. So any enemy that is within, any enemy that is within 10 feet of him has to make this save. So this Gnoll is out of range. So just these 3 Gnolls here, actually. They have to make a DC 13 con save, or they take 1d6 radiant damage. So let me make 3 con saves really quickly. I'll try to do these fast. So the one next to him, DC 13, so that fails. The Gnoll to his right, that fails. Then the Gnoll that's furthest away from him fails. DC 13, so they're all going to take a d6 radiant damage. So let's see. Hopefully it's a lot. 3, that's better than nothing. So Holy Blast bursts out from him, Ilmater's holy words reverberating through his gullet and causing his mouth to glow with this golden radiant energy that only affects evildoers near him. And they cannot gain the invisible condition until the priest's next turn, but luckily these Gnolls can't turn invisible, because that would make them a nightmare. He's going to try to move just a little bit, not far enough away so that the Gnoll gets an attack of opportunity. He's trying to get closer to his warrior friend, so he's within touching distance here. And now we move down to the spy. What is he gonna do? I think he disengages, he runs backwards, and he shoots this Gnoll with this crossbow as he's running backwards. So that's what he's gonna do. He's going to fire his crossbow bolt at this Gnoll. He does have a +d4 as well, which that already hits, but just for the sake of it, I'll roll it. Alright, so he's gonna deal 1d6. So 2 of these are d6 damage. So he's gonna deal 6 points of damage, which will bring the Gnoll down to, yes, I'm using a calculator, I don't want to do the math, down to 4. And now the Gnoll has to make a con save, and if he doesn't make this DC 14 con save, he's going to take another 2d6. He succeeds, so he doesn't take an extra 2d6, but that bolt hits him right in the chest, and that Gnoll's now panting, his tongue's hanging out of his mouth, he's looking very injured as the spy, as the character is getting further away. As he's, hold on, let me double check how far he moved. So he was like here, wait, he was here, he's going to move back all 30 feet. Close to the mage, trying to help his brethren out here. That's good like that. He's going to get there. The mage's AC would have worn down So that's no longer there. He's back down to an 11 ace. So let's look here. What can the mage do? So this would be a little bit weird of a decision to make, I would say. But it is going to allow him to do the most amount of damage with one turn. I think realistically speaking, he wouldn't normally do this because he'd be trying to save himself. But as he notices his friend running up to assist him, the mage is going to use his last use of Ring of Lightning for the day, and he's going to try again to redeem that attack that he did prior, and he's going to cast Ring of Lightning and try to get rid of all 4 of these gnolls. So they have to make a saving throw. If you guys know of any way to quickly do a group of creatures saving throws, please let me know in the comments, because I hate making saving throws for a bunch of creatures all at once. So let me go ahead and do this. They all have a +1 to their dex save. So I'm just going to go like this. We're just going to go, I think, clockwise. Do the saving throws clockwise. So the first one, this is a DC 13. So that's a failure. Next one, success. Failure. Failure. So 1 success. I'll put the just something here so I know this guy is the one that succeeded, like that. Everybody else failed. Now, I gotta roll 3d6 lightning damage again. Surely, he's gonna roll higher than 3 1s, like he did last time. I would be absolutely shocked if he rolled 3 1s again. That would be insane. He rolled 2 1s still, but he does 5 damage. That's not too bad. He does actually ice one of the gnolls. It just gets electrocuted and fried from that lightning. This gnoll takes 5, goes down to 2. This gnoll goes down to 10, which this gnoll will take 2 and go down to 12 because he succeeded. So that, we resolved all of those. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. That was the mage's turn. He sees his friend coming, and he has his staff up in front of him, ready to start bashing this gnoll if he absolutely has to. And that was all of the players' turns, so now I believe it is the gnolls' turns. Let me double check. Alright, here we go with the gnolls on round. I have no idea. I'll probably put it on screen because I've lost track. So the gnolls are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members out of 10. So they lost a couple of them. I'm going to go ahead and have this gnoll on the roof here with his bow. He's going to fire at the warrior yet again. We'll see if he gets the attack off here. He's got a +3 to hit. Let's see. Here comes the bow. Here comes the arrow. A 19, and that's actually going to hit. And he's going to do 2d6 plus 1 damage to the warrior. That's about a great sword's worth of damage there. 9 damage. The warrior is going to go down to 10. This is the lowest he has been this entire combat, I believe, as that arrow comes flying over the ridge. The sharpshooting gnoll whelp lets that arrow go. Hits the warrior in the top of his breastplate. It actually penetrates the plate, and he stumbles backwards, letting out a gasp of air. And the other gnolls here, this guy, he's gonna charge up here. He'll get here, and he's gonna throw his spear at the warrior. So let's go ahead and roll that d20 again. It's a 16 plus 3. That will hit, and the warrior is gonna take actually 2d6 damage here. He's going to take 2d6 plus 2 from the spear. This is not looking good if he rolls really high. Ooh. Now it's back in the gnoll's favor. As the warrior gets hit with the arrow, it breaks his guard for a moment as he's about to swing on the gnoll in front of him who's weakened, and then a spear comes flying out from his right flank, and it plunges into his gut, and he drops backwards unconscious as the cold chill of death starts to encroach upon him. He is unconscious. Sacred Blessing does help with saving throws, so a death save, I do believe it would work for a death saving throw is what it is, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little while since I've played 5e. I'm pretty sure it's a death saving throw, not just a check. So he does go to 0, and that's really bad. So he drops. This Gnoll here is going to turn. However, this Gnoll is just going to make an attack. Now, I'm a proprietor of, if your character or a creature that you're attacking is completely defenseless, he's unconscious and he's not fighting back. So I don't think it should require an attack roll. So the Gnoll does take a bite out of the warrior, and he's going to fail 2 death saves immediately. And the Gnoll is actually going to regain hit points with Ravenous Beyond Reason. The warrior is a human, so he's going to regain 4 hit points and bring him up to 6 as the Gnoll starts tearing chunks out of the warrior here. That's not looking so good now suddenly. We're going to really have to hope the priest can survive this round of combat, which in theory he should be okay, but the warrior is 1 failed death save away from death, pretty much. So this Gnoll moves up here. He doesn't have his spear. I have to remember that because he lost his spear. So this Gnoll is going to move up. He's going to make a bite attack, +4 to hit. If he hits, he does 3d4 damage. That's not going to hit. The second Gnoll is going to make an attack with its spear, which is going to use Rib Splitter. It's just also going to miss. The priest is a absolute unit of a tank. So those 2 things miss. This here, he's going to swap back to his spear. So let me replace him back with this guy here. He's going to swap back to his spear and shield, and he's going to charge the spy. And these 2 Gnolls are going to just attack their adversaries that are in front of them. The wizard does not have any spells left for Abjuring Ward. He used both of them, so he cannot use that again. So the first Gnoll attacking the mage will do that one first. Let me get a good view here so you guys can see. So this guy to the mage, we're going to see here, +4 to hit. This is going to be with the spear. He's going to use Rib Splitter because he has no reason not to. Oh, that's going to hit. And the wizard is going to take... He's going to take 4 points of damage. Going to bring him down to 12. And he's also going to take a -1 to his constitution saves. So I'll type it, or I'll write WIZ -1. And the spy now is going to get attacked with this Gnoll's spear. This is a +4. That hits. That's going to be another d6 +2. That's going to be 4. That, and then the spy takes a -1. He goes down 6 HP. It's starting to go back into the Gnoll's favor. This isn't very good. And they still have to reroll initiative next round also. Oh, this Gnoll dropped him to 0 this round actually, so he's going to... I think I did use Rampage, because that's how he was able to bite him. I'm pretty sure, right? Hold on. I have to double check the footage because I can't remember what I just did. I have the memory of the squirrel. It wasn't this Gnoll, it was the other Gnoll over here. This is actually terrible. He dropped the warrior to 0 hit points. This Gnoll bit the warrior, causing him to fail 2 death saving throws. Rampage triggers with this Gnoll. Oh no. Yep. It's looking like... Well, hold on. So he dropped him to 0 with his spear. He's going to charge over here. The priest is still standing, so technically speaking, I think it would make more sense for him to go after the priest. They're all dogpiling on the priest now because he's got this heavy armor. The warrior is now not a factor at this current moment. He's unconscious on the ground. That Gnoll whelp is starting to rip into him. If I wanted to be really mean, I would make this Gnoll go up and just coup de grace him. But I'm going to have him attack the priest. I'm going to give them a little bit of a chance since they were rolling so terribly in the beginning. If it makes sense, it makes sense. So this is the Rampage bite attack actually proccing against the player characters. So here I go eating my own words. A 20 total is going to hit the priest. He's going to take 3d4 piercing damage +2, which is going to do an 11 11 points of damage. It's going to bring him down to 15 HP. So the priest, he's battling these two hyena men, trying to keep them off of him, and then suddenly the 7-foot-tall whelp comes up behind him and chunks the back of his neck and starts tearing into him and rips a chunk of him through the chainmail coif that he has on his head, doing a ton of damage. The priest feels the warm blood pouring down his body. He only has one use of his healing spell left, so he's gonna have to use that on the warrior. The warrior drank both of his healing potions. Everybody is down pretty bad. It's starting to get down to the wire here. So now we have to reroll initiative. Here we go again. So let's reroll initiative. We got the players will be the red die, and I will go back to the silver die for the Gnolls. Let's see what happens here. It's not looking good either way, I don't think. Ooh, double fives. We gotta re-roll. Oh, no, that's not good. So the players lost the initiative roll. The Gnolls finally have won the initiative roll after so long. This Gnoll, he's going to become an infamous character in this campaign, apparently. He's just going to be known as the sharpshooter. He's going to make the attack first so I don't forget about him. Also, I forgot to mention this guy here. He's gone. He got out a while ago. So they actually saved 5 people. They saved 5 innocent people in this combat. So let me go back here. Alright, so this Gnoll, he's going to make an attack with his plundered short bow. It's got a +3 to hit. The priest has 17 AC. The arrow misses. It doesn't even go near the priest, it just flies far. Now, man. So, this... If I would... I don't know, I'm trying to think of lore-wise. Would this Gnoll continue to just eat the warrior, or would he run around and try to help his friends here? I'm going to say, in this instance, he's going to run around and help his friends. I'm going to give the warrior the one chance to make the death saving throw, and we'll see if he succeeds. So the priest is literally surrounded in a 4-pronged attack here. This is going to be a sad death scene. I don't want it to end like this, but so we got 4 attack rolls. We're just gonna go clockwise, starting with him. We're gonna go like this. So let's do it here. We have a +4 to hit. These are with the bone spears. So +4 to hit. They don't have advantage. They just have an extra die of damage. So the first one misses. The second one will hit. So that's 1 hit. The third one will hit. Unfortunately, the fourth will miss. So 2 hit, 2 miss. It's going to be 4d6. So it's almost like they all hit normally, technically speaking. And that's going to be +4 damage, and the priest is going to get a -2 to his con saves. Oh boy, he's going to take 13 damage. He's going to go 15 minus 13. I believe that's going to bring him down to 2 HP. Yes, I just want to double check my math because I'm terrible at math. So he's going to go down to 2 hit points. Oh, it's so tragic. They were coming back too. Remember what I said earlier though. I'm playing these characters how I would play them. I would charge in. I would not spend the time trying to strategize something while people are getting torn apart by Gnolls. I would try to charge in and save them. Now, they were outnumbered, and this is only really going this bad because of the absolutely abysmal rolls in the beginning. So the cleric, the priest is going to take a ton of damage there. He's going to go down to 2 as they are just tearing into him. Thankfully, he did not go down, however. Now we move over to our 2 friends here. Now, sneak attack does say that it works if an ally is nearby. Yes, so backstab. Alright, so he's also triggered survival instinct, so his AC actually goes up by 2, so he should be at 15 AC now. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I accidentally went from here and I just went to the players' turns before doing these 2 Gnolls real quick. So I'm going to make this attack here and we're going to do this attack here and we're going to see what happens. So versus the wizard versus the mage. The Gnoll is going to use his spear here. He's going to lunge into him. I've lost my... Where's my Gnoll stat block? Where are you? There you are. Alright, +4. You'd think I would remember what it is by now, but I don't. So +4, 20. That's gonna hit. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is not good. Well, actually, he doesn't have his spear because he threw his spear earlier. So this is actually with his bite attack. So it's gonna be 2d4 +2. And it's gonna do 6 damage. Just gonna bring the mage down to 6 HP, which is not good. Actually, he will take another d4 because of Pack Frenzy. Oh dear. He's gonna go down to 3 hit points. I don't know what I did. After I did the priest damage, I went over here and then I just started doing the rogue's turn for some reason. So actually the rogue had a really epic thing and now I just had to take it back because I didn't do these. So the wizard is going to go down to 3 hit points. Now against the spy here, he's going to make an attack. The Gnoll is going to make an attack on him with his bite. He's got a +4 to hit. Oh no, that's not good. Alright, so the rogue, he's going to take 3d4 +2 and he's only at 6 hit points. This might be the deciding factor here. I really hope he doesn't die. Yep. He goes unconscious. He goes unconscious, hits the ground. That Gnoll tears a chunk out of him, and he dropped him to 0 hit points. So Rampage goes off. He then gets to make a bite attack as a bonus action against the wizard. Against the mage. Oh, this just went from terrible to depressing. He hits. There's no way he survives this. The mage goes unconscious. He goes unconscious. Oh man, that sucks so bad. Now we come to the player's turn, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, we do the player's turns. So it's looking pretty grim, and I think it makes sense considering you roll that terribly back to back to back. It's highly likely you're not gonna succeed in combat. I could have probably played the player characters a little bit more tactically, maybe, but also in the fog of war, everybody makes mistakes in combat, even experienced dungeon masters like myself, and I'm running 4 pseudo player characters and 10 Gnoll stat blocks at the same time. So not 10 separate Gnoll stat blocks, but 10 creatures. So I'm trying to realistically make the battle flow. So things are going to happen that won't be perfect. So I'm going to do the warrior's death save first. He does have a d4 because the priest never went unconscious. So let's see what happens with the warrior. He succeeds. He doesn't die. Then let me roll for the mage. He just is a d20. He fails 2 death saves. Oh my god. Alright, we got X, W, M. Now for the spy, he gets to do a d4 with his d20 roll. So let's see. He succeeds. So US. I don't know why I'm really keeping track of these because I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference, but we'll do it just to do it. Now the priest here is surrounded by 4 Gnolls. I don't think the priest can really do anything at this moment. He can heal himself, but I don't think that's going to help him. He's just going to heal himself and go down. No, he has to. He doesn't have a choice. So he has to spend his healing, or does he do it to the warrior as he's being torn apart? You know what? He's going to do that. As he's being torn apart by the Gnolls, his hand is going to reach through the pile of Gnolls and touch the warrior, and he's going to heal him with his last healing spell usage here. The warrior's going to heal to 20 hit points. He's going to come back up, but he did already make his death save for the turn. But at this point, if I was DMing this, I would let the warrior take his turn. Just because I would throw him a bone of some sort, because I still don't think they're going to win this. But I'm going to do this how I would do this. So the priest does that. He heals the warrior. The priest is probably going to die next turn. He's probably going to literally die next turn. The warrior comes back. He stands up with his last remaining bit of energy. He turns to the Gnoll next to him. I'm going to let him make his attacks for the turn just for the hell of it, to let him go out in a blaze of glory. He's going to make an attack roll against this Gnoll whelp. He's going to hit him with a 15, d8 plus 2. If he rolls max damage, he can kill this Gnoll, which would be pretty epic. Nope, that's not going to do it. So that Gnoll's going to go down to 4. And then the warrior's going to make a secondary attack with his sword, and he misses. Sucks the energy out of the room whenever they start coming back, and then they just get shut down again. It just feels so bad when that happens. Even as a dungeon master, you don't take pleasure in TPKing, but it's also a necessary thing that has to happen sometimes. The dice were really telling the story here. I just was rolling so bad, and I feel bad because I wanted them to win, but if I have actual players playing these characters, maybe they would win easier. Maybe I'll do that next time. I'll let some people actually play as these characters, and I'll control the monsters, and we'll do like normal 5e combat. Maybe I'll even get some viewers to control the stat blocks for me. Anyways, so that's going to be the player's turn, because the Gnolls won. That's the player's turn. Now we reroll initiative. So let's see what happens. We're going to not do that. We're going to do a silver and then a red. Alright, let's do this. Come on, players. Nope. When it rains, it pours. So the Gnolls are going to go again. The warrior, he's not going to leave his allies. He's not. He's going to ride or die, as they say. So these Gnolls here, they are completely separated from combat. So I am, at this point, since it is not looking good, I am going to coup de grace the mage. And this Gnoll's going to feast upon him, and he's going to regain 4 hit points. It's bringing him up to 17. The mage that will be enough to down the mage for good. He will be unalived, as they say. So I'm gonna leave a blood stain on the ground there from where the mage was. So that's that. Actually, no, I'll keep the mage there. We'll do this to show that he is unfortunately no longer with us. Then this Gnoll is going to tear into the spy, causing him to fail 2 death saves. Remember, I don't want to make an attack roll because it doesn't make sense to have to make an attack roll. He's going to go up to 17 as well. And they're just going to continuously keep eating these bodies because they have no reason to go over here. There's just no reason for them to do that. Now, however, we are going to get back to here, and they are dogpiling. How would I do this? I'm going to roll a d6. I'm going to do a d6 decider. This is a Shadow Dark thing, but I'm going to roll a d6. On a 3 or lower, the worst outcome happens. So all 4 of these Gnolls are going to just go in on the priest. If I roll a higher than a 3, then the Gnolls are going to split their attacks. Actually, they're going to split their attacks. I don't know if it's going to help them much. These 2 Gnolls are going to go on the warrior. So let's see what happens. We're going to do 2 attacks here. These are just going to be bite attacks, because at this point I've lost track of what creature has its spear and what doesn't. Actually, this guy here doesn't have a spear, I know that. Alright, so he's going to attack, he's going to miss, that's good. The second Gnoll might not be over yet. 19, that's gonna hit. He's attacking with his bite, so it's gonna do 3d4 plus 2 onto the warrior. That's 12. It's not looking good. And we cannot forget, of course, the archer Gnoll that's in the background, who's also going to make an attack against the warrior. He has plus 3. My players, if I had players in this game, they would be absolutely mauling right now. So, Gnoll's gonna do... Yep, here it comes. I think it's plus 1. Take the victories where we can get them. It's only a plus 1 coming from the arrow from downtown. That's enough. He gets hit again. He tries to come back like a wrestling match, and he just gets shut down. He gets shot with the arrow. Goes to 0 hit points. That would have procced Rampage, but he's so far away that we're not going to really worry about him. And now for these 2 Gnolls, I'm going to be building a reputation of being a guy that just TPKs everybody. So these two Gnolls are going to make attacks on the priest. That's a miss. The second attack, that's a hit. They're going in with their bites at this point. They are just completely ravenous. Even the minimum damage. Priest goes down too. And this could be a start to a quest line. The adventurers sacrificed themselves to save the town, but in the end, they unfortunately were not able to save themselves due to absolutely horrendous rolls on the d20s. At some point with the rogue, I rolled with advantage, I rolled a 2 and a 1, which that attack could have potentially taken out a Gnoll early. And then I just was missing back to back. So it's truly tragic when this happens. But sometimes it's just the dice tell the story in a game with random number generator. That's just kind of how it happens. If you do want to use these adventurer stat blocks, I do have them available if you become a paid member on my Patreon at any tier that's not the $1 tier. And of course, if you want to use my Gnoll stat block that you've seen here, these are Gnoll whelps. Not super powerful, but obviously powerful enough to take on 4-player characters. So they were outnumbered, give or take, as well. But those will be on my Patreon page. So thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. I'll probably have some players playing the player characters next time. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. I'm not saying good night. I'm just saying.